junior, Jaden Kasu. Freshman, Amaya McKinney. Senior, Nia Reeder. Sophomore, Gracie Jones. Freshman, Kennedy Fisher. Freshman, Emily Sabers. Sophomore, Reagan Sands. Sophomore, Olivia Hubach. Senior, Eileen Keene. Senior, Kaylin Hamilton. Junior, Courtney Henry. Freshman, Genesis Voss. Junior, Amelia May. Sophomore, Anna Lee Phillips. Junior, Jordan Napolitano. Sophomore, Jocelyn Hernandez. Junior, Leah Parkey. Senior, Cindy Crouch. Senior, Taylor Ingle. And junior, Ava Johnston. And from Denton University, under the direction of head coach Lisa Bowerman and assistant coaches Zan Jones and Caitlin Thomas, please welcome the pioneers of Texas Women's University. Sophomore, Bailey Upton. Senior, Ruby Gove. Freshman, Autumn Wiggins. Freshman, Joanna Baker. Senior, Brooke Ferrari. Sophomore, Kylie Gaylori. Junior, Kylie Menard. Sophomore, Renee Glenn. Freshman, Gabby Roussel. Sophomore, Elena Reed. Junior, Bailey Bourgeois. Junior, Maddie Murphy. Sophomore, Jordan Luke. Junior, Sophie Hernandez. Junior, Sophia Steffen. Senior, Candy Zarlingo. Sophomore, Ellie Eanhouse. Junior, Caroline Downs. Freshman, Addie Doe. And junior, Sophia Isbell. From Bridgeport, Connecticut, under the direction of head coach Lorraine Gallo and assistant coaches Alexis Richardson, Sarah Prue, and J.C. Leegee, please welcome the Purple Knights of Bridgeport University. The seniors, Amara Jennings. Senior, Tamara Singletary. Junior, Gracie Walker. Freshman, Veronica Castillo. Junior, Taylor Pettit. Junior, Noah Stark. Sophomore, Leah Coxon. Sophomore, Ray Solis. Senior, Ryan Tompkins. Freshman, Liberty Penny. Junior, Emily Hernandez. Senior, Skylar Volchek. Senior, Maggie Coyle. Junior, Emily Turner. Freshman, Belle Schmidt. Senior, Abigail Kinney. Senior, Madeline Biles. Freshman, Delphine Desjardins. Freshman, Marissa Schlossman. Senior, Taylor Rendina. Senior, Molly McAlevey. Sophomore, Nicole Pujols. Junior, Gabrielle Lamb. Senior, Quinn Aiken. Senior, Samantha Noakes. Senior, Brooklyn Weingart. Freshman, Georgia Reed. And senior, Samantha Frenzel. And lastly, from right here in Westchester, Pennsylvania, under the direction of head coach Marvin Vermillion and assistant coach Stephanie Stevens, please welcome the Golden Rams of Westchester University. A sophomore, Riley Murata. Junior, Hannah Shelton. Junior, Liana Schultz. Senior, Anna Lacey. Sophomore, Hannah Elkins. Sophomore, Emma Grace Kelly. Sophomore, Tatum McGuinn. Junior, Corinne Rubin. Freshman, Ava Griffith. Freshman, Gianna Smith. Freshman, Grace McNamara. Senior, Sarah Eskew. Senior, Melina Regas. Freshman, Caitlin Tatum. Junior, Catherine Lighting. Freshman, Ali Subchak. Freshman, Bailey Green. Freshman, Jasmine Lukumski. Senior, McCarthy Keene. Freshman, Sophie Salvatore. Freshman, Maddie McCullough. Sophomore, Catherine Keener. Junior, Lydia Stoner. Senior, Carol Largo. And freshman, Zion Williams. We would like to thank our officials for this evening, representing Louisiana, Texas, New Jersey, New Hampshire, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Ohio, New York, Missouri, Illinois, and Massachusetts. We now ask that you please rise if you are able, and gentlemen, remove your hats for the playing of Lift Every Voice, followed by the Star Spangled Banner.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the Hollinger Field House. We're in Westchester, Pennsylvania, and tonight we crown a national champion. It's the 2026 WCGNIC Team Finals. 4 teams left standing: Bridgeport, SEMO, Texas Women's, and Westchester. Someone going home as the 2026 national champions tonight. Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us here on our Virtius Live coverage. I'm Kevin Kopp, alongside Tiara De Tomaso. Tiara, as you know, nothing more exciting than this, a national championship at stake, and should be a really great meet between these 4 teams.
Oh, yeah, we're looking at a night of a lot of incredible gymnastics. It's going to be definitely a fight to the finish, probably a close battle between SEMO and Texas Women's. We're going to see what happens. I'm definitely excited for the outcome.
Those are the 2 marquee teams, Bridgeport and Westchester, trying to play spoiler tonight. Let's get to meet all 4 of our teams, and we will begin with the team going in home order or Olympic order. That is Bridgeport, coached by Lorraine Gallo, back in the team finals for the 2nd consecutive season, and looking to put some pressure on those top teams, as you said, Tiara.
Oh, yeah, Bridgeport, like you mentioned, 2nd consecutive year qualifying to team finals. That's something that they were super excited to be able to get to last season. So being able to be here again, definitely making history for them, hoping to try to finish a little bit higher than they did last year, focusing this season on consistency and just continuing to build, and had to have a few falls last night, so looking to come in today, be more consistent, and get the meet that they're hoping for.
193.250 in session one yesterday. You see that season high score, just a little bit above a 194. It's going to take more than that today to put pressure on SEMO and Texas Women's. Let's talk about those two teams. Let's begin with SEMO, Southeastern Missouri, coached by Ashley Lawson. This has already been a historic 2026 season for SEMO. They won their first MIC championship in 11 seasons, beating Texas Women's in the process, and they're looking for a sweep here on an even grander stage to the national championship.
Oh yeah, and we're looking at some great gymnastics from them. You can see that season high score, 194.95, average 194, almost even, just slightly above. They're also coming in with the all-around champion from yesterday, Taylor Ingle. She has competed in about 27 consecutive meets in the all-around, and she competed yesterday all-around. She's competing today all-around. She's slated to compete all 4 events in finals tomorrow, so I'm excited to see what she has for us today.
None of us get to say that we're tired this weekend after what Taylor Ingle is doing, and they're going to need another terrific performance from her tonight if they want to catch Texas Women's, who will go to third. Lisa Bowerman is the head coach. These are your defending national champions. The Pioneers took home the title in 2025. And if you look at the numbers, they come in as the team to beat once again. Even though SEMO pulled the upset at MICs last week, you look at the overall season, Texas Women's has put together another incredible year, including a 195.250 last night, the highest qualifying score of any of the 4 teams.
Texas Women's, another team. Honestly, all of them did have some struggles with consistency yesterday, but they're coming back in today. They're putting in some contenders that they were resting due to some injuries. I think that they're all feeling the hurt here at the end of the season. So hopefully, they're looking to put their best foot forward to try to get revenge almost on SEMO for winning conference championships last weekend.
They've got the highest score of any team in the competition. They are the only team to break that 196 mark this season. They would love to do that again here with the WCGNIC title at stake. And last but certainly not least, to the 4 teams here in tonight's final, it's the home team, Westchester, the host school, qualifying under head coach Barb Cordova. And Tiara, as you know, they're going to try to ride the momentum from yesterday and in front of this home crowd here and try to pull an upset at home.
Yeah, Westchester coming in with a season high of a 193.175, so not as high as the other 4 teams that we're seeing today, but they are looking to peak here this weekend and particularly tonight. Last night they had their highest vault score of the season, broke that record by about 4/10, and they're just looking to continue to do that, be more consistent than they were yesterday, and just keep building.
All right, those are your 4 teams: Bridgeport, SEMO, Texas Women's, and Westchester. One of them leaves as your 2026 WCGNIC champion in just a few hours' time. We want to thank our sponsors, without whom our coverage would not be possible tonight: Synergy Gymnastics, Higo Apparel, International Gymnastics Champ, DGS Gymnastics Supply, Chester County's Brandywine Valley Crown Trophy, and of course our presenting sponsor, without whom tonight would not be possible, USA Gymnastics, the presenting sponsor of this year's WCGNIC. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors, and Tiara, obviously we get the fun opportunity to get to call this meet and get to see gymnastics at its highest level tonight, and really looking forward to what's ahead over these next couple hours here in Westchester.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a great meet. Like we've been talking about, it's going to be a close one. We're definitely going to see SEMO and Texas Women's kind of trailing. Maybe we'll see some back and forth action in those first couple of rotations, and then we'll kind of start to see who might get to be that clear winner. And then I think that Bridgeport, Westchester, they're both just trying to make something happen. They do want to perform better than they have in past seasons. Bridgeport came in 3rd last year. Westchester came in 4th. So it kind of seems like they have their own little rivalry going on as well.
Yeah, there's some duels within the quads. Of course, everyone is looking at that top prize, and you look particularly, if you go strictly by the numbers, Texas women's, that season high is a 196, SEMO right about a 195, Bridgeport rounding to about a 194, and Westchester a 193. But it's not as easy as just saying you're going to go out and put out your best performance tonight. You've got to go earn it on the floor, and I think Texas women's becomes a really interesting case because, Tiara, as you look at this first rotation, Bridgeport starts on vault, SEMO starts on bars, Texas women's starts on beam, and Westchester will start on floor. Beam gave everyone fits yesterday. None of these 4 qualifiers had a clean 6-for-6 beam set, and so they've all got to do it, obviously. You've got to compete all 4 events, but Texas women's has got to rip the Band-Aid off right away here as they get started on beam, and they can really set the tone, I think, for their night as the competition is underway. That is Elena Reed, who is up on the beam. Bottom left of your screen, we've got quad box action here, vault top left, bars top right, beam bottom left, floor bottom right, and we are officially underway.
Yeah, and Elena starting off that beam strong with a flight series, not a single bobble in sight. So hopefully Texas women's can continue to build off of this first routine. That first person always feeling a little bit more extra pressure, needs to set the tone for the rest of the rotation. Person in the anchor spot, similar vibe. If there was an accident earlier on in the lineup, they feel that pressure because you put up 6 routines, you count 5, so there's only room for one little mistake.
Bridgeport with their first vault of the night. Ray Solis a little bit short on that Yurchenko layout, but Bridgeport gets their meet underway. SEMO now on the bars. Westchester with their first floor exercise routine. Lydia Stoner, that's Jocelyn Hernandez up at the top right of your screen, and a good finish from Elena Reed on beam.
Jocelyn looked like she didn't quite get enough swing into that overshoot. She kind of had to struggle a little bit. She's fighting through the rest of this routine. Chest a little bit down on that landing. Tried to go for that stick after that slightly lower shoot over. Not quite what she probably wanted to see in the middle there, but finished strong either way.
And everyone with one event in the books here, or one routine in the books, I should say. Solis for Bridgeport, Hernandez for SEMO, Reed for Texas Women's, and Stoner for Westchester. You'll see the scores coming up at the bottom of your screen. You get the individual scores across the bottom, and then the running team score on the right side of your screen as we wait for each of those first scores and our second event competitors as we get underway in this quad meet format tonight. 4 on the floor, and 1 left standing is the national champion. And you can see, I think, TR already, just a little bit of the pressure, a little bit of the nerves. Everyone now, you get that one routine, you can exhale a little bit and hopefully settle into the rest of this first rotation order.
Yeah, that first routine really holds a lot of pressure on each rotation, but that first routine at the very beginning of the meet, even more so. That vault absolutely nailed by Tamara Singletary for Bridgeport. She really held that stick. Yurchenko Tugful, she wanted the judges to know that her feet did not move.
I had to check to make sure that the camera didn't freeze. She was holding that position for so long. That's the definition of a stick there.
Yeah, there's no way they can take anything on that.
Nicely done by Singletary, who had a 9.7 in yesterday's competition. You see the first score of the night for Solis come in, 9.35. We do have 4 judge panels all weekend here at the WCGNIC, so you throw out the high, low, average, the middle 2. And now second on the beam for Texas Women's. This will be Sophie Hernandez.
And we're here looking at all 4 of our teams in the quad box. But if you're watching today's meet on Virtius, you've got a really cool way to follow your favorite team. We've got a dedicated team stream running for each squad today, so you can lock in on your team's routines from first salute to final score. Make sure you subscribe to Virtius and then hit like on the specific team stream you're watching so we know exactly who you're supporting this season. That's your way of voting for your team and helps us bring you more coverage like this on Virtius.
all the options at your disposal with all the chaos of the quad meet. You see Lena Coxon finishing up her vault, top left, and now just the dismount remaining. Trying to hang on to that stick there, Hernandez. A little balance check on her series, but otherwise gets through that routine cleanly. Caravargo now on floor exercised for Westchester.
She opened up her floor routine, starting out with a double pike. Immediately popping that chest up on the landing, trying to minimize deduction as much as possible. Second tumbling pass, 1.5 punch front layout. We want to see that second flip rise in those combination passes. That one stayed a little bit level, so judges might take a slight deduction on that.
Meanwhile, Abigail Kenny, that front entry vault, gets some good distance off the table. A little step forward on the landing.
Abigail Kenny, such a strong competitor for Bridgeport. She is an all-arounder. She was the GEC all-around champion. She took home third yesterday when we figured out who was going to be winning that all-around in that first and second preliminary session. So she's coming off of a high as well.
Yeah, Tiara, worth noting, yesterday in the prelims was when we hand out the National All-Around Championship, because each of the teams, each of the individual competitors represented yesterday. But we do have event finals. WCGNIC still one of the last bastions of individual event finals, which is always so much fun. I encourage everyone to check that out tomorrow. We'll have that for you at 1 o'clock right here on Virtius. We'll crown champions in the vault, uneven bars, balance beam, and floor exercise. Always makes for a really fun day. And some of the gymnasts you see tonight will be competing for individual hardware tomorrow as well.
They train all year long, try to get those 3 days in a row here at the end of season.
It's certainly not easy to do. This weekend is a grind as we go back to vault. That is Nova Stark. Had a really lengthy delay on bars. Judges conference after the first routine of the night. Finally ready to go with Caitlin Hamilton up second. Big Ginger. For her dismount, and nice bounce back. Not easy to do, TR, after that long wait from the first routine. I think SEMO really needed that, and that's a big shot in the arm here in the first rotation.
Oh yeah, waiting so long for the judges, it can make it hard to get up and do your routine, you know. Not just getting a little bit cold, but also that mental aspect of the sport. It's so important, and just trying to stay prepared to do your routine while you're waiting for the judges is always a difficult task.
All right, Gianna Smith on the floor exercise. You see that opening number, 9.35 for Hernandez. And again, there's so little margin for error in this type of championship. That has got to be the score that SEMO drops if they're going to keep pace with Texas Women's here. Back on the beam now. This will be Ruby Goad up third for the Pioneers. And unfortunately, really short on that last vault. Emily Hernandez came in low, had to take a step forward. We'll see where that one lands. That might be the score that Bridgeport ends up dropping. The Purple Knights are complete with their first rotation.
Texas Women's really plugging away on balance beam right now. Despite having to start on arguably one of the harder events to start on, they are attacking it, they are being confident, and again, they are out for vengeance today.
Upset by SEMO a week ago at MICs. They've opened with a 9.75 and a 9.575 through their first two competitors.
difficult dismount, ended the routine side aerial 1.5 twist. Not something you see as often these days, ever since they changed that rule that the flip off the beam had to be of a C value. That sort of eliminated the majority of the side aerial entry dismounts.
The triple box now up on the top right of your screen on the uneven bars. Back to SEMO up third, Gracie Jones.
Really difficult pike Jaeger to start. Too much power coming out of it. Fell over on her handstand. This is definitely not the start that SEMO was hoping to have on this event. She did come back, get that stuck dismount on the landing. Not sure if we're gonna have to count this routine or not.
Yeah, they've already had that 9.35 early on from Jocelyn Hernandez. So this is, as you said, Tiara, not the start that SEMO was hoping for, really trying to put some pressure early on Texas Women's, but the door is certainly open for the Pioneers right now. Bridgeport, meanwhile, as you can see that running team score bottom right, 48.250 on vault. That is 0.4 lower than their score in yesterday's semifinal. And ready to go back over on floor exercise. Up fourth, this will be Allison Subcheck. And on the beam for Texas Women's, Kylie Menard.
Floor Allie with a really controlled landing coming out of her first pass. Double tuck to start. Beautiful form on that front, full front layout. Legs completely squeezed together. Westchester in this competition with a lot of freshmen on their team. They recruited 10 freshmen this year, so a very young team, relying on a lot of those freshmen in these lineups. Before Allie was Gianna, both of which are first-year students.
Really nice finish on beam for Kylie Menard. Another hit routine. Back to SEMO now following the fall. Up fourth, Ava Johnston.
Beautiful start. Maloney into a pack and an immediate switch kip. I am always a fan of those. Get rid of as many kip cast handstands as you possibly can, but step back on the landing.
Yesterday on bars for SEMO, 48.425 as a team. Not their best. They had their high score on floor of a 49. So, they wanted to come in and top that tonight to try to put some pressure on Texas Women's, and having to count that early 9.35 right now, that fall from Gracie Jones. You see that score of a 9.275. That's the low number right now. Texas Women's, meanwhile, is open 9.75, 9.575, 9.725. We're waiting on the score for Menard. And up fifth will be Caroline Bounds.
judges all seem to be on the same time frame. It looks like we're getting all of our routines happening at the same time.
They never do cooperate the way that you want them to, those judges, do they?
No. Here we go. Every routine about to start all at once.
Kat Keener on floor, bottom of your screen. Caroline Bounds, as we said, top left. And Taylor Ingle will be top right on the bars momentarily.
Kat Keener opened up front double twist, E-level skill.
And unfortunately on beam, Bounds comes off.
That's definitely going to put pressure on Sophia Isbell in the anchor spot to really nail that beam routine.
Beautiful straddle Jaeger for Ingle. Shoot over to handstand looks good. Finishes with a great stuck landing. Really nice routine there for SEMO.
Keener rounding out on floor, ending with a Rudy front 1.5 twist, and Bounds on balance beam with a gainer full to a stick.
All right, so as Tiara said, the pressure now back on Texas women's. Sophia Isbell in the anchor spot, needing a hit routine to avoid counting a fall on beam and really opening the door back up to SEMO, who has in effect counted a fall here in their first rotation, carrying that 9.35 from Jocelyn Hernandez. They still need a hit, meanwhile, in their anchor spot from Sydney Crouch. Can't afford to drop another routine here in this first rotation. And then meanwhile, Tiara, you have Westchester just kind of plugging along here with 9.6s and 9.7s, but looking very steady on floor, and they're in position to test some of these top teams who have not been exactly lights out in this first rotation.
Yeah, this first rotation proving to be difficult already. A similar pattern to what we saw yesterday, some falls on both bars and beam.
All right, ready to go now for SEMO in the anchor spot, Sydney Crouch.
Toe hand into a Maloney, directly back down into a shoot over, slightly short of handstand, but nothing too major.
Isbell on the beam now for Texas Women's as well.
And chest down on that landing, front pike half. That's going to get a deduction there from the judges, but a hit routine, so they will be able to at least drop that 9.275 fall from Gracie Jones earlier in the lineup. But again, still counting a 9.35.
Isbell, meanwhile, with a beautiful triple series, maybe a little bit off on that second layout step out. Small balance check on her leaps, but otherwise getting through this routine nicely. Setting up for her dismount. All right, good finish and an important hit routine there for Texas Women's. They will drop the 9.275 from Bounds. They will have to carry a low score of a 9.575 from Hernandez, but did the important thing. They got their 5 hit routines, and now finishing up on floor. Our last routine here of this first rotation for Westchester, it is Corinne Gruber.
And that wraps it up. Last competitor of this first rotation.
Well, some highs and some lows, Tiara. No one looked perfectly comfortable. Westchester probably the steadiest of the bunch. You have the high score right now of that 9-8 on bars from Taylor Ingle. We're still waiting on those last scores for the anchors to trickle in, but I think what you can say at the end of one rotation is, you can't win it in the first rotation. You could certainly take yourself out of it. None of these teams have done that, and we've got a lot more gymnastics ahead and what should promise to be a very exciting night.
The thing that people want to know just from watching is that we have 10 first-year students on our team, and many of them are competing in the lineup. And on top of that, not just our first-year students, but other students that have never competed in the lineup before. We have 8 brand new spots in our lineup. And I think that's a lot. I think that my team has handled that really, really well and has really worked hard to just grow and learn throughout the season. So I'm really proud of that. I would have to say a moment that stands out to me is the Unite for Her Pink Invitational meet. It's a meet that we've done several times, but they haven't had it in a few seasons, so we were really excited to be back at the college session of the Unite for Her meet. Something kind of goes along with our last question is that about half of our team came down with flu B that week. So that was really hard to navigate. And as a result, about 4 of our starters did not compete in that meet. However, I was really proud of our team. We didn't know how it was going to go. We didn't know if we were going to be able to fill our lineups, but we did. Many of the people that were healthy were able to step into those lineups, and we had one of our best meets of the season, and it was really impactful. So that was a moment that really stands out to me. This championship is very, very important to me. It is very dear to my heart, and it has had a huge impact on me personally, but also our whole team. I know I've shared this before, but my very first year coaching 18 years ago, I had 1 athlete qualify to this championship. Then the next year I had 2. And then we had more and more individual athletes qualify. And then in 2017, our whole team qualified. And that was super exciting. And we have qualified as a team several times after that. We've also had 2 national champions from this competition, and then several All-Americans. And this championship makes it possible for athletes that are not at the top schools to have an opportunity to compete in postseason and to earn these types of awards. So this championship is super, super important and has been really just a great experience for my team, for myself personally, and just for the schools that participate. So thank you so much.
That is Behind the Chalk with Westchester head coach and the host of the 2026 WCGNIC, Barb Cordova from Westchester. We want to thank our sponsors, and we'd like to start with USA Gymnastics, the presenting sponsor of this year's WCGNIC. As the national governing body for the sport, USA Gymnastics supports athletes and programs from youth through the collegiate and elite levels, including events like this Women's Collegiate Gymnastics National Invitational. USA Gymnastics is also gearing up for the 2026 Xfinity US Gymnastics Championships this August 6th through 9th in Phoenix, where Olympians and world medalists will battle for national titles and national team spots. Single-day tickets are on sale now, so head to xfinitychampionships.com or usagym.org to grab your seats and be part of one of the biggest events of the year. We'd also like to thank Synergy Gymnastics, a local training center serving the greater Philadelphia region from right here in Pennsylvania. Synergy focuses on foundational skills and offers recreational classes along with USA Gymnastics competitive levels 2 through 10 and Excel, helping develop the next generation of college athletes. If you have a young gymnast who fell in love with the sport watching this meet, look up Synergy Gymnastics online to learn more about classes and team opportunities. We'd also like to thank Hygo Apparel, providing performance wear and custom designs for athletes and teams. Their focus on comfortable, functional gear helps gymnasts train and compete with confidence on every event. To see their latest lines and team options, check out their online shop and social channels. Tonight's championship is supported by DGS, Theories Gymnastics Supply, your full-service source for gymnastics equipment and supplies. From training aids to competition setups, VGS helps programs around the country outfit their gyms safely and efficiently. Gym owners and coaches can visit gymsupply.com to explore bars, beams, mats, and everything needed to keep training rolling all season long. We also recognize Chester County's Brandywine Valley, the local visitors bureau that showcases everything this region has to offer around Westchester and the greater Brandywine Valley. From historic downtown Westchester to nearby museums, gardens, and outdoor spaces, it's a great destination for fans traveling in for the championship weekend. To plan your next trip back to the area, head to the official Brandywine Valley tourism website and discover places to stay, eat, and explore while you're here for great gymnastics. Crown Trophy helps make this feel like a true championship with the awards waiting for our athletes at the end of the weekend. As a national leader in trophies, medals, and custom recognition pieces, Crown Trophy helps teams at every level celebrate their biggest moments. If your program or organization is looking to upgrade your awards, visit Crown Trophy online to design something special for your next meet. And finally, a big thank you to International Gymnastics Camp, one of the premier summer training destinations for gymnasts from across the country. IGC combines world-class coaching with a classic camp experience, giving athletes a chance to sharpen their skills and have fun in a summer setting. Parents and gymnasts can visit International Gymnastics Camp online to learn more about 2026 sessions, coaching staff, and how to register for camp this summer. Kevin Kopp, Tiara De Tomaso with you as we get set to start rotation number 2. A look at our running team scores through the end of the first rotation. How about Westchester on top after a 48-6 on floor? It's the Rams in first place. In second with a 48-425 Texas Women's. University of Bridgeport in third, 48-250, and SEMO with a difficult bar set, 48-150. They will start off in fourth. Obviously, Tiara, a lot of gymnastics left, a lot of jockeying that can still happen, but really an impressive effort by Westchester. As we said, kind of the steadiest of the 4 teams on the floor, on-floor exercise, doing a great job to put themselves into the lead.
Yeah, we definitely saw them over there just plugging away, very steady, one routine after the other. We saw some hiccups on the other 3 events. Bridgeport, not as clean landings as they would have wanted on vault. Texas Women's, SEMO, a couple of falls in that first rotation. So everyone probably looking to get back on track. Westchester looking to keep building. Again, yesterday they got their season high on vault. It was a 48.525. And if they can match that again today, they're going to be setting themselves up really well moving into the halfway point of this competition.
Yeah, I think they're feeling great right now. They were 2/10 ahead of where they were on floor yesterday, and now going to an event on vault where they have to feel really good based on the momentum of yesterday's semifinals. So Westchester will be on vault. Here in rotation 2, Bridgeport on bars, SEMO on beam, and Texas Women's on floor. And you look at SEMO and Texas Women's, obviously the 2 teams that we have highlighted early and often, Tiara. A lot of work to do for SEMO, but they can certainly get themselves right back into it. They do need a better performance on beam than what they had yesterday. They did have to count a fall, finished with a 48-175, and it really can't have another rotation in those low 48s if they're going to put pressure on the top teams in this competition.
Yeah, especially with Texas Women's moving on for arguably probably their best event, if not their best event. And they have 2 gymnasts who have qualified on this event for regionals. Next weekend, they'll compete in Tempe. That's going to be Kylie Ganbari and then Sophie Hernandez. Both of them rested yesterday on this rotation, on this event. So having them back in here for the floor lineups today will help them get that slight bit of an edge here as we're trying to get that maximum team score.
Yeah, I think that's a huge point worth mentioning, Tiara, is that they were able to post a 49.075 yesterday. 49 is kind of the magic number. If you can string together 4 rotations of 49, that's a 196. that puts you in excellent position. As we said, Texas women's the only team to notch a 196 this season. So, if they can do that for 4 events, they're going to be in great shape. And to think that they did it yesterday without Hernandez and Gambari, their 2 regionals competitors who are going to be representing this team at the NCAA level coming up in another week. I mean, that just really speaks to the depth that Lisa Bowerman has on her roster to be able to dig 8 deep at this time in the year and still be posting event scores that high is really, that's a wow. And our touch warm-up clock expiring, and we are just about ready to go now in rotation number 2. Once again, it will be Westchester on the vault, Bridgeport on bars, SEMO on beam, Texas women's on floor. Leading the way for Westchester, top left of your screen, Cara Vargo.
Yurchenko tuck full, got that chest up right away on the landing, just a slight step. You can tell she's feeling emotional. She is a senior, so this is her last night of competition. Definitely feeling all of the feelings here today.
She will be in one more time on bars. She didn't compete bars yesterday, but will get one more chance to compete here tonight. So representing Westchester in 3 events, and we said they've got nothing to lose. They're competing here at home. Go and leave it all out on the floor, so to speak, and they have done exactly that. Off to a great start, and Vargo delivering a stick to open rotation 2. Top right of your screen, Bridgeport about to get underway. That will be Emily Hernandez, and on floor, Cami Zarlengo leading off for Texas women. She's underway on the beam. Naya Reeder for SEMO.
And as we mentioned earlier, if you're watching today's meet on Virtius, you've got a really great way to follow your favorite team. Just go watch the dedicated team streams that are running for each squad today. You can lock in on your team's routines from their first salute to their final score. So make sure you subscribe to Virtius and then hit like on the specific team stream that you're watching so we know who you are supporting this session.
Another solid vault from Ava Griffith after Vargo opened with a 9.625. Improvement of over a 1/10 from her score last night, so great sign for Westchester early on in this rotation.
Beautiful gainer pike to a stick on balance beam from Naya Reeder, opening up SEMO, putting them in the right position to get back on track in this rotation.
Yeah, that was such a big first beam routine. It always is, but I think particularly when they need the kind of bounce back that they do, great job by Reeder to deliver. Zarlengo as well with a very nice opening floor routine for Texas women's.
Subcheck on vault, another Yurchenko tuck full, stepped off to the side over those white lines, but that is not an automatic deduction like it is on the floor exercise. It's just helpful to the judges to indicate which direction these vaults are going, but a lot of explosive power, travel, and distance on that vault.
Westchester is open 9.625, 9.675, so wanting to see those scores continue to build. We'll see what Subcheck is able to get there. Halfway home on vault already for Westchester. And back on the bars now with Bridgeport. This is Georgia Reed.
A little bit late on that blind full and early out on that double tuck dismount. Step forward, We want to see a step in the correct direction. So for backward flipping skills, that's a step backwards. For forward flipping skills, that's a step forwards.
Gianna Smith finishing up her vault for Westchester. Leaders at the end of one rotation. And back on the beam now for SEMO. This will be Kennedy Fisher. After an opening 9.725 from Nia Reeder, meanwhile on the floor is Bailey Bourgeois.
Combination tumbling pass, 1.5 punch front layout, following her first pass, which was a double pike with an extremely controlled, gorgeous landing.
A little shuffle out of that dismount there for Fisher, but another nice hit routine after the opening 9.725 from Reeder. Zarlengo, meanwhile, with a 9.75 opening score for Texas Women's. That was Jaslyn McCombsky on the vault for Westchester. Just one left, their anchor, Sarah Eskew.
McCombsky didn't quite get as clean of a landing as she did yesterday. Yesterday she did that same vault, nailed it, and got exactly the stick that she was looking for. Today, just a slight bit of a step on the landing.
Yeah, 3 different 9.75 scores on vault yesterday for Westchester. Subcheck McCombsky and Eskew in the anchor spot. Haven't gotten quite that high yet in this rotation. Don't know that we'll get there from McCombsky today. And we'll see what Eskew has for that final vault of the night. Meanwhile, another bars conference. This time for Georgia Reed of Bridgeport, so a little delay over there in the top right.
Westchester this season really showing a lot of improvement on the vault. This is one of the first times in at least recent history where they haven't had to compete a Yurchenko layout in their lineup. So all slightly upgraded start values, helping them reach a higher scoring potential. And Eskew with a full-on tuck-off, beautiful vault, just a step on the landing, but another great rotation for Westchester, who's just really plugging along and staying steady.
All right, so Westchester already at the halfway mark of tonight's competition. We'll get the score momentarily from McCombsky and then Eskew. Meanwhile, back on the beam now, up third for SEMO. This is Jordan Napolitano.
He just opened up with a beautiful tourniquet quarter, something you don't normally see on balance beam. That upgraded leap, super difficult to do.
And getting underway on floor up third for Texas Women's. This is Autumn Mickens. So it looks like Tiara late change with Sophie Hernandez listed in the initial lineup. They went ahead and pulled her out, so Mickens gets her spot called.
He did compete on the balance beam, still nursing some injuries. And of course, they want her to be able to go out and compete next weekend at regionals. So probably a smart decision for them, especially knowing, again, they do have that scoring potential, even without their top gymnasts.
49 plus on this event last night with Mickens in the lineup and delivering a very steady routine right now.
Closing out with a double pike. And that last tumbling spot.
That's a great job. I don't know exactly at what point coaches made that decision to switch back or how much time Mickens had to know that she was back in that lineup, but that's a huge spot to deliver, and she does a terrific, terrific job. Finally back on bars for Nicole Pujols.
Blindfold double tuck, slight hop on the landing, but overall, very clean routine.
By the way, you can see in the bottom of your screen, SQ in that anchor spot scored a 9.725. That was the high vault score for Westchester. Not quite able to get back to where they were last night. 48.250 as a team on vault. That's just under 0.3 below that season high score last night. 96.850 at the midpoint for Westchester. We'll see how that holds up with the other teams trying to chase them right now. SEMO back on the beam. Taylor Ingle up fourth.
Calm and confident on that triple series. Back handspring, layout, step out. Once you start surpassing 2 skills in a row, you hit that 3 skill mark, it just gets all the more difficult.
And getting ready to compete on floor now. This will be Kylie Gambari, the other of those 2 NCAA regional qualifiers. Did not compete yesterday. And we get to see what should be a terrific floor routine here.
She definitely has a unique choreography style, something different than what you typically see in NCAA. You normally see those upbeat, super fun routines. This one probably takes a more serious tone.
Meanwhile, round off double full, really nice finish by Ingle on beam. Just a little step on the dismount, but a lot of difficulty there. Triple series, round off double full. Excellent routine, and SEMO looking very comfortable on beam right now.
Gambari, front full punch, front layout. Taking some time here to breathe before her third tumbling pass. She's going to round it out with another double tuck. And a solid routine from her. You can tell why she qualified to regional. She's definitely deserving of it.
Well, disappointing that she won't be able to compete in the event finals tomorrow. Those qualifications are based off of yesterday's scores, and as we noted, they held out Hernandez and Gambari yesterday, and you've got to manage a lot of different things if you're Coach Lisa Bowerman. You're obviously trying to think first and foremost about a team national title. You have to think about being able to have the opportunity to compete at NCAA regionals next week. It's a lot to manage. But both of them certainly a big part of what has gotten Texas Women's here and in great shape right now after some of these floor scores. A 9.85 for Autumn Mickens. That's the high score of the night so far, and we'll see what Gambari scores here as well. Back on the beam, meanwhile, Leah Parton following a 9.775 from Taylor Ingle.
Getting that full turn out of the way early on in that routine. Those little skills can sometimes give you all the most trouble. But back handspring layout, step out, extremely solid. Hold the arms directly down. Lower that center of gravity right away. Get rid of any bobbles that might happen.
Over on bars, Abigail Kenny, Bridgeport's all-arounder, and on floor, Kylie Menard.
Kenny with a huge dismount on bars, just came out of it slightly too early, took that step forward on the landing, but the rest of the routine was extremely clean. It's going to be a good score for Bridgeport. And SEMO on balance beam, 5 have gone so far, 5 have hit, so they're already on that comeback from their first rotation on bars.
Yeah, this is much more like what we expected.
Very consistent in that 9.7 range on beam. No score has dipped below 9.725 so far.
And you want to talk about unique choreography. Love the end of that routine from Menard. It's so theatrical, so much fun to watch. This is a great floor team in Texas Women's, and they are putting it together right now. You've talked about SEMO being in that 9.7 range, where the last two have gone over a 9.8 for Texas Women's. We'll see what Menard scores here, and still Sophia Isbell in that anchor spot for the Pioneers.
Texas women's coach, you could see her in the corner there jumping up and down with some excitement. Looks like they're seeing the scores being turned around by the judges a little quicker than we're seeing them populate into the system.
We are on the edge of our seats, though, to see what that entails. Back over on the uneven bars now. This is Ray Solis. And unfortunately, I think comes off there in the anchor spot for Bridgeport.
That means they're probably going to have to count their 9.45 earlier in the lineup from Georgia Reed.
All right, anchors now on balance beam for SEMO, Jaden Kosif, and then on floor, Sophia Isbell for Texas Women's. A nice double back to open.
Another solid triple series on balance beam, back handspring layout again. And a gainer full straight to a stick. SEMO absolutely coming back in this rotation. Forgot about bars altogether and just really did what they needed to do here on balance beam.
Yeah, very impressive performance, and you can see why now on the bottom of your screen. The reactions were the way they were for Texas Women's. A 9.925 for Kylie Menard as we come full screen here to catch the end of Sophia Isbell's routine. Boy, Texas Women's delivered a terrific team performance here to Tiara on floor.
Yeah, coming in without even having that anchor spot routine, already at a 49.1 for this floor rotation, and I'm sure Sophia Isbell possibly going to be able to top one of the earlier scores and drop a 9.75, which will make that score even higher.
Yeah, an awesome job doing it without Sophie Hernandez. They get Gambari back, who delivers a great routine. Menard, how about a season high 9.925? Her previous best this year was at 9.85, so great time to have your season high score. And Texas Women's likely to jump ahead here based off of their score on floor exercise once all the numbers come in, and we are officially at the halfway point of tonight's competition. 2 routines down and 2 remain. A lot of changes from rotation 1 to rotation 2, and we expect more surprises in store here as we continue on with rotation 3. All right, Westchester came into this rotation as the top team at the end of one rotation in TR. Let's go back and take a look at some of our earlier vaults. This is actually from rotation 1, beginning with Ray Solis from Bridgeport. There's Singletary.
With that stick that we saw her hold for oh so long.
That was a 9.7 for Bridgeport. Overall team score of a 48.250. Abigail Kenny right here had the high score with a 9.775.
Got that impressive entry. Yurchenko half on, front off. Extremely hard to do.
And then now into the second rotation. This was Westchester, also matched Bridgeport's score of a 48.250. Not quite what they were able to muster yesterday with their season high in the semifinals. There's Allison Subcheck. That's back to Stark from Bridgeport, who scored a 9.75 in rotation 1. And for Westchester, in the second rotation for the Rams, capped off that team score of a 48.250. High score for Westchester was Sarah Eskew's 9.725. Again, a steady performance from Westchester. Will it be enough to keep pace with the heights that Texas Women's was able to reach with a 49.250 on floor? Back-to-back 9.9s to close out that rotation as they jump ahead and into first place at the halfway point of tonight's competition. So here's a look at where things stand in the second rotation. Texas Women's jumps ahead into first, 97.675, thanks to a 49.250, a great floor rotation for the Pioneers. Menard and Isbell cap it off, 9.925 and 9.9. In second, SEMO moving up, 48.8 on beam. Very steady, very solid. Cossett, the high score, with a 9.825 in that anchor position. 96.950 for SEMO at the midpoint. Westchester slips to third, 96.850. Just a tenth behind SEMO for second place right now, and not far behind Bridgeport, 96.475. So Tiara, with 2 events remaining, obviously a lot can happen, but Texas women starting to distinguish themselves right now based on that floor performance.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is sort of what we predicted to happen with Texas Women's, but I think we were expecting it to be a little bit closer with SEMO after that first rotation on bars being tough for them, but this comeback here, they are going to try to catch up with Texas women's as best as they can. Westchester looking to try to continue to be consistent. They've already had 2 rotations under their belt where they've just sort of been steadily going at it, and I think that they're hoping to see the same things happen on bars and beam.
By the way, that 49.250 for Texas women's does match a season-high score on that event, and doing it without one of their all-around competitors. Tip your hat to Autumn Mickens, who stepped in for Sophie Hernandez and delivered a 9.85. The great routine that really took that floor team to new heights and delivered a great performance. And we'll see what rotation 3 has in store as Bridgeport goes to beam, SEMO to floor, Texas women's now to vault, and Westchester to bars as we enter the second half of tonight's competition.
Synergy Gymnastics, established in 2020 and located in Malvern, PA, offers recreational classes and USAG competitive levels 2 through 10 and excel. We strive to instill strong foundational skills to help our gymnasts grow and progress in their gymnastics and life skills. Synergy is proud to be sponsoring this year's National Collegiate Gymnastics Invitational, hosted by Westchester University. From our team to yours, we wish the gymnasts and their teams the best of luck this weekend.
Welcome back, everyone, inside the Hollinger Field House. We're here in Westchester, Pennsylvania, the site of the 2026 WCGNIC. Kevin Kopp, Tiara De Tomaso with you. We've got 2 rotations down and 2 to go. In first place at the end of the second rotation, it is Texas women's a 97.675 after a season-high score on floor exercise of 49.250. In second, it's SEMO 96.950, 1/10 behind them, Westchester 96.850, and Bridgeport in fourth 96.475. So we go to rotation 3. Bridgeport will be on beam, SEMO will be on floor, Texas women's will be on vault, and Westchester will be on bars. Tiara, obviously a huge bounce back by SEMO in that second rotation. They really needed it after a tough start on bars, effectively counting a fall. They had to take a 9.35 score with them out of that bars rotation. Not what they wanted to try to put that pressure on Texas women's, and we'll see what they can do here after a really nice beam set. They go to floor where they posted a season-high 49 just yesterday in the semifinals. They're going to need something like that or even higher tonight.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure that they are feeling hungry as well. Again, we talked about it earlier. They were able to top Texas women's last weekend at the MIC championships, and they wanted to do that again today, so they're going to need to put on that same strong performance here on the floor exercise to try to get back up to Texas women's.
All right, touch warm-up clock almost expired, and we will get ready for rotation 3. Leading off for Bridgeport will be Samantha Krenzel on beam. Kaylin Hamilton up first for SEMO on floor. Elena Reed will lead off for Texas women's on vault. And Maddie McCullough for Westchester on the bars. I think Westchester in great position as well. TR, we talked about it. Obviously every team wants to come in here and win, but Westchester would love to improve on their positioning from a year ago, and they're in great shape to do that right now. They got to be saying to themselves, hey, we haven't blinked. We're holding our own. We're 1/10 out of second place. We're here on our home floor. They go to bars and beam, and I think they've got a great shot.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the storylines for both Westchester and Bridgeport. Westchester qualifying to team finals for the first time 2 years ago when they last hosted nationals. Bridgeport qualifying last year for the first time to team finals. So these two teams, even though they're fairly recent to making this last competition, this team finals, they're still holding their own as we're seeing today.
All right, we are underway in rotation 3. Maddie McCullough, top right of your screen on bars. Bridgeport about to get going with Samantha Krenzel, bottom left. On floor exercise, Kaylin Hamilton, bottom right. And momentarily on vault, Elena Reed will get things started for Texas Women's.
Maddie on bars with an absolutely huge routine, opened up with array, so much height, and a step dismount from her as well. And once again, if you are watching today's meet on Virtius, you can follow your favorite team by going to our dedicated team streams that are running for each squad today. So you can lock in on your own team's routine, and then make sure you subscribe to Virtius and hit like on the specific team stream so we know who you are supporting this session.
Really cool feature, and if you stay with us here, we've got every routine in the quad box. We've got all your scores for you as we go on here in rotation 3 of this national championship quad meet. Krenzel and Hamilton both finishing up, and there is our first vaulter, Elena Reed, for Texas Women's. An excellent start.
Vargo prepping to go here on the uneven bars. She didn't compete yesterday. They substituted around that lineup a bit tonight, try to maximize their score on this rotation. Maloney to shoot over, slight bit of leg separation when she caught that low bar again. But stuck landing on the dismount. Kara, again, a senior, you can see she's feeling emotional there after that routine.
And she's got to be proud of what she and her team have been able to do, competing on 3 events tonight. Another vault there, that is Jordan Luke.
A beautiful full-on pike off. That is a 10-0 start value, so it's on par there with a Yurchenko 1.5 twist.
Yeah, and that certainly helps. We've talked about those vault start values. Anytime you can get those more difficult vaults, you take your deductions from a higher starting value. It just gives you a little bit more cushion. Yesterday, Texas Women's with a 48.825 on vault. That was the high vault score of any of the 4 teams in competition tonight. And that added difficulty certainly helps. Over on the beam, Emily Hernandez up second for Bridgeport.
Looks solid on her flight series. Unfortunate fall on the front toss there. So having a fall this early in the lineup, it's going to put pressure on the last 4 people who still have to go after her.
Bridgeport coming into this rotation in 4th, trying to play catch up to the middle of the pack. And there is Bailey Bourgeois.
It's always difficult to get back up on the equipment after a fall, especially on the balance beam.
We have a judges conference going on floor, so lengthy delay here after Hamilton's routine. Texas Women's is opened with 2 9.75s for Reed and Luke, waiting on the score for Bourgeois. Next up in the 4th spot will be Juliana Baker. sky high Yurchenko layout full for Baker. A little uncontrolled on the landing, but great distance, great height off the table.
Yeah, just so much power, such an explosive athlete.
Liana Schultz on bars right now for Westchester.
Double layout, just got that stick. Might have looked like she was gonna take a little hop or a little step, but she definitely had a big comeback story this year. She is a junior, but past 2 seasons, she was out with an ACL tear, 1 year for one knee, following year for the other knee. So getting back in on that bar lineup this year was a big deal for her.
Had some terrific perseverance and able to compete here, deliver a great routine at the WCGNIC's excellent capper to her junior season. Over on floor after the long wait, we've got Reagan Sams up second for SEMO. On vault, another very clean Yurchenko layout full, hanging on to a stuck landing Maddie Murphy. Or excuse me, that is Gambari.
You can see all of the gymnasts nowadays, when they get that stick, they are holding on to it as long as they possibly can, making sure that those judges are seeing it with their own 2 eyes and not taking a single deduction. Bridgeport on balance beam. This is Molly coming back after a fall from Emily Hernandez.
As TR noted, 4 hit routines needed here for Bridgeport to try to drop that early fall, so some pressure sets coming.
That was Sophia Isbell on vault. Yurchenko 1.5, but a really low landing.
Yeah.
I don't think that she quite hit the ground, so I think that it won't count as a fall, but it's definitely going to be a big deduction and probably the score that T-Dub is going to drop on vault today.
Well, a bit of a disappointing ending, but otherwise very solid rotation for Texas Women's, including a 9.85 from Gambari. That's going to be the high score for the Pioneers, so they will be in fine shape. They're already at a 48.775 before Isbell's vault, so can't do any worse than that. That's within half a tenth of where they were yesterday, so puts them in fine position. All right, back on floor exercise. Up third, Anna Lee Phillips.
Opening up with a double back pike.
Jamara Jennings on the beam for Bridgeport.
Another beautiful triple series on balance beam. We're seeing quite a few of those tonight. It does give the gymnast a slight bit extra amount of bonus than just the standard back handspring layout step out.
Dance out of that second pass on floor for Phillips. Now on the bars, Grace McNamara for Westchester. Huge Ginger immediate overshoot.
Phillips on floor, wrapping up her routine with a 1.5 punch front layout. Very clean, coming back from that second routine where Reagan Sam's got an 8.9 for SEMO.
And so we've talked about that pressure for Bridgeport on beam. With the early fall, we could say the same here for SEMO.
Leanna Schultz for Westchester on the uneven bars, getting a 9.7, topping her score from yesterday where she got a 9.475, so showed quite a bit of improvement on that routine just from yesterday to today.
Westchester continues to have a really nice showing here at home. That score for Schultz, 9.7, is a new season high as well. No better time for it. Right back on bars now for Westchester. This is Melina Ringus.
Started with a ganger, had some bit of leg separation. Not as clean as the last ganger that we saw from Grace.
Abigail Kenny on the balance beam for Bridgeport.
Melina with a beautiful stick on bars, and Kenny on balance beam with an insanely difficult flight series, standing front tuck into a back tuck. Can't even imagine doing a standing front tuck on the floor.
No, it's a great point. You think about doing it on that 4-inch beam.
Judges on floor coming back from another conference, 2 routines back to back.
Great finish there from Kenny. Yeah, this has really been a struggle on floor. We've had a conference, we've had an 8-9, another judges conference is not able to get into any kind of a flow here. Certainly not helpful for SEMO. Leah Parton is on your screen, on the bottom of your screen, waiting as we await the score for Annalie Phillips. Hamilton opened with a 9.725. Sam's had the 8.9. Waiting on the score here for Phillips. Texas women's already in the clubhouse, 48.775 on vault. They will finish on bars, which is a great event for them. They are in great position right now. These 3 teams on your screen trying to give chase Finally back on floor, Leah Parton up fourth for SEMO.
And Sarah Eskew on bars, starting out with a blind full, right into a ganger, packed down to the low bar. She's going to close out this routine with a double layout, looking for a stick here. Doesn't quite get it, takes that step back, but overall another very clean routine for Westchester. Right now they're not counting a score below a 9.6. We'll see if Eskew can get anything slightly higher than that.
Meanwhile, on beam in the anchor position for Bridgeport, Ryan Tompkins, top of your screen. Parton on the bottom.
Back handspring layout flight series in just a bit of a wobble, but she recovers. Impressive leap series, switch leap, switch half into a beat jump.
Parton, meanwhile, finishing up with a very nice Rudy on floor for SEMO.
Soon we'll just head over to floor. Going to be the only rotation, or the only, event still going in this rotation.
Yeah, so we get to spend some extended time here with SEMO. Two routines left. Jaden Koseth and Taylor Ingle in the 5 and 6 spots. And yeah, just a little bit of a tough rotation. Opened with a 9.725, then had the 8.9. Another judges conference, a 9.6 for Phillips that they're going to have to count. Waiting on the scores here for Parton.
And Eskew's score coming in on bars at a 9.7, putting them at a 48.4 for the event. That is a season high score for them, topping it by half a tenth.
Yeah, and a full 10th better than what they did yesterday. So, Westchester, to their credit, they have brought their best, and it may not be enough to catch Texas Women's as they go into the last rotation. It's still more than a point lead right now for the Pioneers, 146.450. Westchester at a 145.250, but second place going to be well within their grasp, plus or minus what SEMO does here in these last two rotations. So I think you really have to like the position Westchester has put themselves in, and they're 18 for 18 right now. They're really the only team that has steadily just knocked out every routine that's been in front of them. Now back to Jaden Koseth.
Double tuck to start, controlled landing. Gonna try to have some fun here with the choreography. Gorgeous split position on that leap. That's something that these judges are looking for, making sure you're hitting at least a 180. One and a half, Branny straddle jump. Always putting those little jumps outside of those half forward twists and Rudy twists, helping get a more controlled landing. A lot easier to stick a straddle jump or a split jump than it is to stick a twisting skill.
And a great routine from Koseth, who had delivered a 9.825 in the anchor position in the last rotation on balance beam, and now it will be up to Taylor Ingle to close out this third rotation from SEMO, and we'll know where we stand going into the fourth and final rotation. Bridgeport counting that 9.45 in the anchor position from Ryan Tompkins, 48.325 on beam. Big improvement from yesterday. Almost got totally out of the woods after that fall in the number 2 spot in that order. Some really good routines under pressure, particularly the 9.85 from Abigail Kenny. And Bridgeport sitting at a 144.8. They'll be 4.5 tenths behind Westchester going into the last rotation. We'll see where SEMO fits into that picture based on the score from Koseth and this final routine as we come full screen for Taylor Ingle. All right, and all eyes here in the Hollinger Field House on Taylor Ingle. Final routine of the third rotation.
Definitely a gymnast who deserves all eyes on her. Such a strong competitor.
And a reminder, she is your national all-around champion, determined yesterday, day 1 of the WCGNIC.
Round off 2.5 twist, punch front tuck. SEMO showing off some team pride there in the choreography. A lot of teams do end up doing something similar on the floor exercise. Punch front layout, punch Rudy. A little bit of legs crossing on that twisting skill. Great finish for SEMO. They are going to be able to drop that fall earlier in the lineup from Reagan.
And with that, the stage is set for our fourth and final rotation. But first, we'll step away to take you back behind the chalk.
Moment from this season that really stands out is when we were in the airport in Phoenix after our last regular season meet, where I told the team the power of 11. We have known as staff since midway through season that 11 was pretty special to this team, and so we had the highest opening score in 11 years. We beat Illinois State at Illinois State for the first time in 11 years. And it had been 11 years since this team had won a conference championship. And so at the airport, while we're waiting to come home, we mentioned to the team, hey, here's something as we go into our final week of practice before conference, to just remember that there is something special. And so they really bought into that. And that moment was really special when they believed in it. We walked into the arena at conference and there were ones on the scoreboards, and they just knew that the writing was on the wall. And I think that moment was extremely special for this team, and to see the belief that they can do anything that they put their mind to. 10 years from now, I hope that this team remembers the camaraderie and love that they have for each other. This sisterhood is so special, and it's something that not everyone gets. And these girls will stand next to you on some of the best days and the worst days of your life. And so to have something so special years down the road that started right here at SEMO, I think that is just magical. And so really just remembering the love and these sisters that are standing beside you through thick and thin. If I could go back to the start of season and tell myself one thing, it would be to trust and enjoy the journey. We've had our fair shares of ups and downs, but this team and Team 50 has made history, and there's something that nobody can take away from Team 50. And honestly, it's all worth it. And so just going back and remembering where we started and where we're finishing, and know that, you just have to trust the process and enjoy the journey, all the highs and lows that come with it, but it's pretty special. I think
On the vault will be SEMO.
All right, that is Behind the Chalk with Ashley Lawson, head coach from SEMO. Folks, we want to thank the presenting sponsor of this year's WCGNIC, USA Gymnastics. As the national governing body for the sport, USA Gymnastics supports athletes and programs from youth through the collegiate and event levels, including events like this, Women's Collegiate Gymnastics National Invitational. USA Gymnastics is also gearing up for the 2026 Xfinity U.S. Gymnastics Championships this August 6th through 9th in Phoenix, where Olympians and world medalists will battle for national titles and national team spots. Single-day tickets are on sale now, so head to xfinitychampionships.com or usagym.org to grab your seats and be part of one of the biggest events of the year. I want to thank USAG for all that they have done as the presenting sponsor of this event, and boy, what a great one it has been. As we look at our event summary from rotation 3, Texas women stays out in front. They head into the last rotation in first, SEMO in second. After floor exercise, a 48-8. They were able to bounce back with some really good scores from Kossuth and Ingle in the 5th and 6th spots, 145-750. They are 5/10 ahead of Westchester, who sits in 3rd, 145-250 after a great rotation on the uneven bars. Bridgeport sitting in 4th with a score of 144-8. So a little bit of separation, TR, as we come to this 4th and final rotation. Texas women's in 1st, SEMO in 2nd, Westchester in 3rd, Bridgeport in 4th. We'll see if those positions hold or if someone is able to make a move here in this 4th and final rotation.
Yeah, I mean, Westchester moving into the balance beam. They've been extremely consistent tonight. Yesterday, they did have a couple of falls on beam, much like every other team that we had here today. So them, like everyone else, looking to come back on balance beam and really do what they know that they can do in this final rotation.
SEMO has overcome that tough start on bars, putting together solid performances on beam and on floor. They will finish on vault, where they had their second highest score yesterday, 48-750 as a team. They're going to be the first team to post a final score. We're going to know what the number is to beat, but Texas Women's is in great shape, TR. You look at what they've done, 49-250 on floor, very steady vault, a little bit of trouble from Isbell with that final Yurchenko 1.5, but they had already posted a 48-775. Now they go to bars where they have to be feeling great. Yesterday, they were lights out. Back-to-back 9-9s, a 49-350, high score of the season as a team. This is, I think, a place where they should feel very good about getting to finish up and possibly seal another national title.
Yeah, I think for them today, just on bars, they're looking to be consistent, and if they're able to do that, they should be able to continue to hold on to that number 1 spot and get that redemption against SEMO for winning MICs.
You heard Ashley Lawson talk about it, the power of 11 years since SEMO had won a conference title, and they were able to do that last week, upsetting Texas Women's, and now these two teams meet again. A little bit of an MIC rivalry here at the WCGNIC Championship here in Westchester, and those teams 1 and 2 right now as we head to the 4th rotation. Westchester sitting in 3rd and Bridgeport sitting in 4th, and a lot at stake for all of these teams. SEMO will be led off by Kaylin Hamilton on vault. Bailey Bourgeois will get things started on bars for Texas Women's. Westchester on beam will be led off by McCarthy Keene, and Tamira Singletary will be on floor exercise for Bridgeport. We've talked about the other three teams. TR Bridgeport, obviously sitting in fourth right now. A few mistakes here and there, but again, the potential for some high scores. They had a couple of 9-7, 9-7-5 scores, including Abigail Kenny, who has been extremely impressive. All-arounder. We've talked about Taylor Ingle, who won the all-around title. Kenny finished third. She has been excellent tonight once again for Bridgeport and really steady this entire season.
Yeah, Bridgeport does have a ton of really strong competitors on the floor. Right off the bat, first athlete that we're going to see, first tumbling pass, is going to be a triple twist. Something that extremely rare in collegiate gymnastics. From Abigail Kenny later on in the lineup, we'll see a Yurchenko. Sorry, just looked at vault. We're going to see a 2.5 twist.
Yeah, and I've been impressed, TR, all night tonight. I mean, we have seen tons of difficulty. We have seen opening passes. We've seen triple series on beam. And, folks that may not know all the ins and outs of the WCGNIC championships, these programs getting a chance to shine. There's some really good gymnastics at this level. You don't have to go to NCAA regionals or the NCAA championship to find some really top-notch gymnastics, and we have seen that here tonight. All right, just a few seconds left on the touch warm-up clock. Fourth and final rotation about to get underway. And we are just moments from crowning a national champion. Will Texas Women's be able to repeat? They currently sit in first, SEMO in second, Westchester in third, Bridgeport in fourth. And away we go in rotation 4. Top left of your screen, vault. That is SEMO. Top right, bars, Texas Women's. Bottom left, beam, Westchester. And bottom right, Bridgeport on floor.
And once again, if you are watching on Virtius, you are able to head over to the dedicated team streams that are running for each of the squads today, and you can lock in on your favorite team here in this last rotation.
And we are underway on floor. Tamira Singletary.
With that triple twist in that first tumbling pass, she has so much power and so much bounce. You can really tell how much height she gets just in her jumps, leaps, and also in those tumbling passes.
Underway on bars, Bailey Bourgeois.
Gorgeous bail to handstand, landed right on top of that bar. Gorgeous dismount, so much height, stuck landing. Great start for T-Dub in this last rotation.
First vaulter, Kaylin Hamilton for SEMO.
And Tamara on floor, double tuck to finish. Always appreciate when we're seeing a 3-pass floor routine with a double in that last tumbling pass. Something that is a lot more rare nowadays.
McCarthy Keene, meanwhile, leading off on beam for Westchester.
Westchester shuffling around their lineups a bit from yesterday on balance beam. Again, taking out a gymnast who had a fall yesterday, replacing her with someone else, and looking to try to maximize what they can for their score.
Yeah, tough day yesterday, 47-5 on beam as a team. Melina Ringus getting inserted into that second position as Keene finishes up. Up third on vault, Nia Reeder. Back-to-back 9.65s for SEMO to start off this rotation. And then back to bars now with Texas women's. Up second, Cami Zarlengo.
Line change, piked Jaeger, so gorgeous. Such beautiful lines on this rotation for Texas women's. Double layout, step on the dismount, but she got that chest all the way up.
And an opening 9.85 you see on the bottom of your screen from Bourgeois. They are not giving an inch right now. Texas women's has been superb. Up fourth now on vault, Jocelyn Hernandez.
Has a big
Yurchenko
hop
full
there on that landing.
And over on floor for Bridgeport, Skylar Volchev. On beam here is Ringus, who did not compete yesterday, inserted into the Westchester lineup with that side summy.
Ringus with a big wobble, but a nice recovery on that jump combination. Chest all the way down. Not sure if she touched the beam or not. It's going to determine how big of a deduction that the judges are going to give her.
Right up third on the bars, Jordan Luke. As we get a stuck vault, Jaden Kosif, Yurchenko layout full, what a finish. And Luke, meanwhile, comes off the bar almost right away, it looked like, on that low bar to start her routine.
Something definitely that took me by surprise, at least.
It looked like before she really even got into that first handstand before the Shaposh up to the high bar, so effectively redoing her full routine here. But now the pressure right back on Texas women's with 3 routines remaining, and Elena Reed, who had a fall yesterday on the bars in the semifinal, will be up next. Let's see if the Pioneers can put their first mistake in a while behind them and finish strong. They've got Reed and then Bounds and Ferrari, who both went 9-9 yesterday. Still a chance to finish up and drop that fall. Final vault of the night, SEMO finishing up. Their all-arounder, Taylor Ingle.
Yurchenko layout full, lots of height, lots of distance from that table, step on the landing, but rounding out a nice, clean rotation for SEMO to finish.
Yeah, unfortunately, that tough start on bars just put them behind the 8 ball a little bit. Able to bounce back nicely, and the question is, will it be enough? We'll see what their final score is, and we'll see where everyone else lands. Over on floor, Bridgeport, Nova Staric. As we get ready to go back to beam for Maddie McCullough.
Although Melina did not fall off the beam, she got a 9.425. That's a score that Westchester will hope to drop if they have any chance of catching up to SEMO or Texas Women's and stay ahead of Bridgeport.
All right, huge routine here. Elena Reed following a fall for Texas Women's. Some real fight on that handstand on the high bar. Finishes with a stuck landing and an important routine there for Texas Women's to get them back with 2 routines left to go. So now Texas Women's with Caroline Bounds and Brooke Ferrari, who both scored 9.9s yesterday. Both were season highs. Helped lead them to a season high 49.350 as a team. Pioneers would love to have 2 performances like that again tonight.
Looks like SEMO's unofficial score is going to be a 194.3. So that's the score that these other teams are chasing.
And we talked about wanting to build off of that semifinal score yesterday. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do that. It's half a tenth lower than what they scored yesterday, a 194.350, which won session 1. We'll see how that holds up with Texas Women's, Bridgeport, and Westchester all giving chase. Bridgeport back on the floor. Margaret Coyle up 4th. And back on the bars, Caroline Bounds, who had a 9.9 yesterday in the semis.
Margaret starting out with a front 1.5 twist into a double stag jump.
And just a little step on that double tuck dismount, but very solid routine. And 1 to go for Texas Women's.
I'm not sure if that was intentionally a tucked Rudy on floor or if she sort of bent her knees to try to help the rotation. If it was intentionally tucked, personally, I would have liked to see the tuck position a little bit tighter.
Emma Grace Kelly, top left of your screen on beam for Westchester.
Having a tough weekend for her on the balance beam. Yesterday she had a fall. Today she just struggled a little bit with her flight series, had to do a bit of a different one, took a wobble on her switch leap.
Yeah, she had to repeat that leap combination to make sure she got that connection. All right, we have come to the final routine of the night for Texas Women's. Brooke Ferrari to cap it off for the Pioneers.
Straddle Jaeger to start. Line change. Straddle back. short on that last handstand. And a double layout step on the dismount. Not quite as well of a routine as yesterday, but still a hit routine, so they are able to drop Jordan Luke's score. That was a 9.175.
And that may well serve as the exclamation point on another national title for Texas women's. We'll see if it will be enough. They've already been able to pass SEMO's score of a 194.3, sitting at a 194.775. And as Tiara noted, they'll drop that 9.175 from Luke. And we'll have a final total for Texas women's in a moment. Meanwhile, on floor, Abigail Kenny for Bridgeport.
Great form on that 2.5 twist. Legs were absolutely glued together. Almost immediately turning around for that second tumbling pass. Front full punch, front pike. Again, on these twisting skills, she's really glued together on her legs. Third and final tumbling pass. Rudy, front 1.5 twist, just that slide back on the landing.
All right, great finish. That's 8 routines in 2 days, if you're keeping count, for Abigail Kenny. And we'll see her again tomorrow as we go over to the beam now. Lydia Stoner.
Front toss, back handspring, acro series. Different than a lot of the series we've been seeing tonight. We've been seeing a ton of back handspring layout step outs or back handspring layout step outs. Beautiful front toss in a piked position. All the more difficult than a regular front toss. And a gainer full with a stuck landing. Have 2 athletes left to compete tonight. On floor for Bridgeport, Samantha Krenzel, and on beam for Westchester, Tatum McGuinn.
Coming to the home stretch, as you see, Texas women's 195.3, SEMO 194.3. And we'll see where Westchester and Bridgeport land. Back on floor. Final floor routine of the night. Samantha Krenzel to cap off this night for Bridgeport.
Didn't quite get that Rudy all the way around. half front full twist. A little out of control on the landing. She was kind of going one direction on the half, another direction on the front full. Had to cross step out of it.
And now finishing up for Westchester, fittingly, the host gets the floor to themselves to cap off tonight. It is Tatum McGuinn in the anchor spot for the Rams.
Front aerial back tuck, and this routine, a lot riding on it. It's going to be really close between Westchester and Bridgeport. And Tatum wrapping up for Westchester on beam with a beautiful routine. Hit there. Will it be enough to keep the lead that they had over Bridgeport from that third rotation? Or did Bridgeport do well enough on that floor rotation to beat out Westchester? We're going to have to wait and see. It's going to be close.
We will leave you in suspense with one score still to come. Those back-to-back 9-8s, Bridgeport closing strong to make a push for third. But what we know, Tiara, is for the second year in a row and the 14th time in program history, Texas Women's is your 2026 WCGNIC champions with a 195-3. And we're going to come back to wrap it all up here from Westchester. But first, we're going to hear from Lisa Bowerman, who spoke to our team before the championship. Let's go behind the chalk with your 2026 national champions, the Texas Women's Pioneers.
Something that has been really exciting, I think, and has, like I said, just stood out is Elena Reed, one of our sophomores. She was a phenomenal competitor last year and really was one of those people who was in and out of lineup a lot through the year on several different events, always stayed ready, always ready to go in, always ready to compete. Going into this season, one of her big goals was to put herself in a position to be a constant in lineups. She really has done that, and she's done it so well. She just is such a steady, consistent competitor for us. She's improved on every event. She competes in 3 events on vault, bars, and beam, and she just has done an incredible job of just continuing to push herself every single day in practice to improve her form, to improve her stick rate, to get those splits just a little bit bigger on beam, whatever it is that she knows she needs to do to improve her scores to help her team is exactly what she's doing. I've just been so proud of how she has approached every practice, approached every competition, and just truly is a competitor, a great teammate. Yeah, just someone who's really stood out to me this year. We're super proud of her and so excited to see what she'll do here in postseason and also in the next 2 years. Something I would say that people may not know about our team just by watching us is just truly how adaptable this team is. It's something we talk about as a team all the time. It's something that's a huge part of our identity. This year in particular, we have been exceptionally challenged with various injuries and illnesses and different things that have just happened throughout the year that have created situations that, typically we try to avoid uncertainty or late changes in lineups or things like that in competition. But this year, there have just been a lot of situations that have required some really last minute changes. They've adapted, they've handled it so well. I think the one that stands out to me most right now at our conference championship, we started on beam. Literally about 10 seconds before touch started, we found out that our starter wasn't going to be able to compete. We knew she was dealing with a nagging injury, and we just knew that it just wasn't the day to push through. It wasn't in the cards for that day. And so 10 seconds before touch, I had to let our second up athlete know, who was Elena, who I spoke about. She normally goes second. I let her know 10 seconds before touch. I said, hey, you're going to lead off the team. And she just immediately said, okay, I got it. And she did. And she did an amazing job, went up, did a great job, started us off with a 9.7. I think we all know what a huge role starter on beam is, particularly in a conference championship on the first event of the day. And then within that rotation, we had an athlete warm up as an alternate. She's a junior transfer, has competed in exhibition for us a couple of times on beam, but has never been in a lineup spot on beam in her college career. Same timing, right before touch, I let her know she was going in. She was going to go 6th. And in her first competitive routine as a college athlete, did her job and finished out the rotation for her team. And so, again, so many examples, so many other athletes who've been a part of that, but that's something that you see us compete and you see the lineups going. They just do such a great job of stepping in that you don't even know that it was changed. I think that's something really special, really unique about this team, and really a source of pride for us. And not to say it's always gone perfectly or that every meet has gone exactly the way we want it, but I do think that adaptability and just the resilience they show is a huge life skill. It's something that will carry with them everywhere they go, everything they do. And so I'm just super proud of them. I hope my athletes remember about this experience 10 years from now. Makes me emotional just to think about it, because as a former college athlete myself, I just know how fast it goes. I tell them all the time that they're really, truly not going to remember the scores or the wins or the losses. Or they really won't. Like, well, those things, they'll know they happened, but the first things they're going to think about are their teammates and the relationships and the memories and the silly times on the road trips. And sometimes I think it just, when you talk about it and to student athletes who are still in it, maybe it sounds cliche or just something that people say to make you feel better, but it 100% is true. Someone who's been out of it now for over 20 years, my very, very best friends are my college teammates. The very best times in my life were when I got to be with them every day. And now I look forward to seeing them on girls' trips, whenever we can get together, being scattered about the country. I just really hope that they remember that. They remember the relationships, they remember the laughs. And I also hope they remember that they are extraordinary, and they always will be in life, but just what an opportunity it is to be an NCAA collegiate gymnast. There are so few people in the country who get this opportunity, so that alone makes them exceptional. Just knowing all of the things that all of my student athletes have overcome and the things that they've faced and the confidence that they've built. I hope they remember who they were when they came in as a 18-year-old freshman, and then how they left 4 years later, and just remember and enjoy everything they went through and how much they grew and the people they were after 4 years, and then how that sets them up for life. It's an opportunity of a lifetime to be a part of a program in college gymnastics and to get to compete for a championship. So I hope they will always remember it and carry all of the lessons with them in life. Something that has been...
Well, they will certainly remember this forever. The 2026 WCGNIC champions, Texas Women's, with a score of 195.3. We want to thank one more time our sponsors, beginning with our presenting sponsor. This year's WCGNIC is presented by USA Gymnastics, the national governing body supporting athletes from youth through the collegiate and elite levels. USA Gymnastics is gearing up for the 2026 Xfinity US Championships, August 6th through 9th in Phoenix. Single-day tickets on sale now at xfinitychampionships.com or usagym.org. A thank you to Synergy Gymnastics, a local training center here in Pennsylvania, offering recreational classes and USA Gymnastics competitive levels 2 through 10. If your young gymnast fell in love with the sport tonight, look up Synergy Gymnastics online for classes and team info. Thanks to Hygo Apparel for providing performance wear and custom designs for athletes and teams. Check out their latest lines at hygoapparel.com. That's HIGO apparel.com. We're supported by DGS, Deary's Gymnastics Supply, your full-service source for gymnastics equipment. Gym owners and coaches, visit gymsupply.com for bars, beams, mats, and everything you need. Thank you to Chester County's Brandywine Valley Visitors Bureau. If you're traveling in for the championship, head to brandywinevalley.com to discover places to stay, eat, and explore around Westchester. Crown Trophy provides the championship awards this weekend. If you're looking to upgrade your program's awards, visit crowntrophy.com to design something special for your next meet. And a thank you to International Gymnastics Camp, a premier summer training destination combining world-class coaching with a classic camp experience. Visit internationalgymnastics.com to learn about 2026 sessions and registrations. All right, a thank you to all of our sponsors as tonight you look at the final team scores and event by apparatus scores here. Texas Women's takes first place with a 195.3, undeniable on floor with a 49.250, but terrific across the board. SEMO bounced back from that tough start on bars, 48.150, knocked it out the rest of the way to take second place with a 194.3. How about Bridgeport finishing strong, 48.725, their best event of the night to overtake Westchester, finish in third place. The Rams take fourth. Really solid night overall. Nothing to be disappointed about for Westchester. 193.450. Tiara, all four of these teams competed at an incredibly high level tonight. Every one of them with something to be proud of, making it to the team finals. But Texas Women's back-to-back national champions is just terrific for Lisa Bowerman and this entire program.
Oh yeah, back-to-back national champions and back-to-back national champions by a point. Last year they won by over a point. This year they won by a point. And again, we did see some incredible performances. SEMO had a great comeback. Bridgeport, pretty consistent across the board. Westchester, pretty consistent also, but couldn't quite get Bridgeport on that last rotation. However, for Westchester, this was a season high for them. So they did look to peak this weekend, and they did get exactly what they wanted.
Oh, they did indeed. And Texas Women's, to do it the way they've done it, they have established themselves once again as the class of the WCGNIC. They won 4 championships in a row earlier in their program history. They are one of the most decorated programs at this level. They won from 93 to 96, and they're in position to try to mount that type of dynasty again here, winning last year in Shreveport. They have backed it up here in Westchester, and we'll see what they can do as we look ahead to 2027. But Tiara, one of the great things about this championship is we are not done giving out hardware. We've got individual event finals tomorrow. We will crown individual champions in vault, bars, beam, and floor. We've already crowned our individual all-around champion. That is Taylor Ingle from SEMO, so they're going home with some individual hardware. And tomorrow's competition, which begins at 1 o'clock, is always a real treat to watch. It is first and foremost a team sport, but to get to watch these individuals compete, try to take home some national champion trophies of their own is something really exciting.
Yeah, I definitely love watching event finals. It also is a bit of an interesting approach. You have 2 events going at one time. You have gymnasts from different teams happening at the same time. You have to stagger those individuals that are in multiple events, like Taylor Ingle for SEMO, who has qualified for all 4 events tomorrow. I mean, we'll see if she does them all. She has competed all 4 events yesterday and today. That is a lot on the body. But, I mean, I'd be excited to see her again on all 4 events tomorrow.
Well, we hope that you'll join us to see some more national championships awarded. But tonight, the night belongs to Texas Women's, a 195.3. They are your back-to-back WCGNIC champions. That's going to do it for us tonight. For my partner, Tiara De Tomaso, and our entire Virtius team producing this national championship all week long from Westchester, I'm Kevin Kopp saying so long, everyone, from Westchester, Pennsylvania, where Texas Women's is your 2026 WCGNIC national champions with a team score of 195.3. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 1 o'clock for event finals. Good night, everyone, from Pennsylvania.
Final scores have been tallied. And here, presenting awards tonight, USAG Representative Tony Williams. Our overall team results are as follows. In fourth place, with a total team score of 193,450, from Westchester, Pennsylvania, Westchester University Bulldogs. And now for third place, with a total team score of 193,525, from Bridgeport, Connecticut, Bridgeport University Purple Knights. We invite you to please run onto the floor and receive your awards for this evening. And in second place this evening, with a total team score of 194,300, from Cape Girardeau, Missouri, Southeast Missouri State University Bulldogs. And now, your 2026 WCGNIC National Champions with a final team score of 195,300 from Denton, Texas. Congratulate the Pioneers of Texas Rutgers University. Thank you for a fantastic team final this evening, and congratulations to our team competitors. Next up, the competition continues tomorrow afternoon with the individual event finals beginning featuring all teams and individual competitors from this weekend's championship. The afternoon will also include our awards presentation where we will recognize this year's Scholar Athletes, Senior Student Athletes, Assistant Coach of the Year, the Ken Anderson Head Coach of the Year, the Outstanding Senior Athlete Award, and the Marie Rice Soper Spirit Award recipient. We look forward to celebrating the incredible achievements of our student athletes, coaches, and programs throughout the championship. Thank you for attending this evening. Get home safe and have a good night.